Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever you're watching us and how you're watching us. Thank you for joining me on the Sports and the World podcast here, a live pop-up edition. I'm LaDarius. Hoping all of you are well and safe out there. A lot of things to cover. NFL Combine. We're going to talk about quarterback carousel. March Madness is approaching. A little bit of the Elimination Chamber. Maybe think a little baseball talk. But before we get to all of that, before we get started, people could come on the show as they like, and I don't like to have everybody on the show. But here's a special guest. He's not Jack Black. He gets that a lot, but here he is. It's my buddy C Double. How are you, my friend?
I may be practicing for a role the way I'm dressed, so it is what it is. So how you doing, brother?
Good. You see, he took time out of his busy schedule, working out. Getting in shape for that next big role because it's right around the corner.
Yeah,
it's always
for the Lonely at Top edition movie.
Oh man, boy, we're not. I see.
Oh no! I was just saying that's the title of the movie. You don't know.
Oh yeah, Lonely at the Top. I mean, who could we get to play? I have a name in mind, but we'll save that name for later.
Yes.
but
how you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, Friday, it's good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so, we're going to start and talk about a little of the I'll say NBA Combine. Nice try. It's Friday. The NFL Combine. And, just a couple of things that interesting. We talk about it on our morning show that we do. It's very interesting to me. And like I talked about, it's a very defensive heavy draft. And,
it is.
So if you're a team in need of some defensive needs, this is the draft to kind of take a huge step forward and rebuilding that. And just a couple of names that I have, to have, like, do you have any? I'll put it this way: do you have any names that you like, or just teams that really need to go all in and just kind of and kind of improve their defense in this draft?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously we have to look at defense. I mean, especially with our draft. Not talking about everything else. If you're just looking at draft capital, you kind of look at us. I also look at the Steelers. You kind of have to eventually replace some guys, and look, this defense, my Lord, it's, what was it? Last night, I went to a place to eat and they had the combine.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of just defensive talent that was trying out one after another. And then you're reading who isn't there or who is not participating in the practice. You're like, this, if you can't find defensive help in this draft, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, honestly, it's, there is a lot of talent. I mean, I got to see Landon Jackson from Arkansas finally. I mean, I've seen him in games, but I've never got to see him, to work out in. And then after that, we got to see a lot of Ole Miss players that I was very intrigued by. Today, I can't wait to see Trey Amos, I think his name is. I also want to see how Will Johnson kind of looks. I think there's Malachi Starks, my God. If you haven't heard his presser, go listen to it. Because if this isn't any reason to draft Georgia players, this might be the reason. I had to practice against Brock Bowers, and he never took a play down or a play off. So you already know what you have to deal with. So I look at these guys. I'm intrigued by the Oregon players because now they played in the Pac-10 or in the Big Ten versus the Pac. So I wonder how the competition level really stepped up for them and how their players are going to respond. And also, can a lot of these guys make sure their shoes are staying on? Because I saw a couple of guys lose some shoes in these drills.
Listen. Hey, tying your shoelaces. It's supposed to be fundamental. Like some. Listen, and other people. Like, listen. That's why, you get the Velcro, and then that's how you solve your. But you can't be wearing Velcro on the field, all that jazz.
Oh
But
yeah, because that might be a character flaw. Why is he not using shoestrings? In our history of our players, we've only drafted people that use shoestrings.
and we're planning to stick to that. Fantastic. But you but you make some very good points, and
Yeah.
like Malachi Starks is a guy, and Nick Umawari. Berto's usually better at pronouncing the names. I practiced a couple of times, and but
Yes.
I think the safety out of South Carolina, like when we talk about like how the front seven is, like the back end has some, like Will Johnson's the top 10 pick in my opinion from Michigan. Very good corner, excellent corner. The Jahoni Brown, he's also pretty good. But like with the bread and butter of this draft belongs to the edge and defensive tackle to me. We know about Abdul Carter. We know about him. But you're looking at guys like James Pierce Jr., Shamar.
He looked good. He looked good. I will say that. And I mean, I'm hearing some of the arguments for him, and I'm just going, you know what? He's going to be that kind of guy. If you pass on him, Javon Walker, you pass on some of these guys, they're going to be those guys that's going to make you wish you didn't pass.
Right. Right. Like the regret situation. Yeah.
And
like I said, you make a very good point about that. And listen, Mikael Williams, the edge, we talked about Shamar Stewart, Donovan Izuruku. It's like, and then you go to the defensive tackle position, that Walter Nolan kid, fantastic.
Woo! Oh, you've got some meat. You got, how, people are worried about the tush, but I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep Shanghaiing this.
No, go ahead.
But no, I was watching, and when you do your mock drafts, you'll see the weights of these guys. The people are worried about the tush push and banning the tush push. You know what you do? You get guys that are bigger, stronger, and that have very good technique to beat the tush push. It's possible. It can happen. But what I'm going to say is another key: go get some of these guys. When Dwayne, I'm going to go here. A guy that I've been drafting routinely second, maybe even early third, if you could trade down. But Dwayne Walker from Kentucky, 6'6", 340 plus. Of course, a lot of these you read. Well, you got to see what his heart's like. You know what? Then make sure the coaches can develop. Last I heard, that's also part of their job, especially when they say it 500 times, not counting anybody.
Right.
But seriously, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find guys and work with them. And that's something that the Falcons and a lot of teams, actually, if you look on their rosters, they don't have that big space eater.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, and going back to your point, there's value. And when you mention a guy that you could get like that, second, third round, that's how deep and the value is. And to your point, we got my buddy Craig is here asking a very important question, which I never brought up, I never thought of, but so for Craig asks, does the existence of C double necessarily imply that there's a C single and potentially a C triple? That's a great one. Boy, this is highbrow. This is highbrow stuff, Craig. We don't know what you're doing. It's it's above the pay grade. It's above the pay grade.
I mean, look, there. You know how the government has certain secrets that they like to hide. I'm pretty confident there's some out there, and you just don't want to go there. Funny thing about my name, I got it from a wrestling show because I came to work it. And when I say I work a show, I was doing DJ, music, and ring announcing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine. In a show, I'm me and my son's working with me. He's doing the videography for me. And, we're planning how we're doing this. But every time people would say, Chris, we had 10 to 6 different people would all do the following. Who, me? And I got so aggravated. Someone looked at me. I said, just call me C Double. C Double's fine. I'm C Double. And they all looked, that fits. So that's how it happened. Because I got aggravated hearing everyone say the name Chris and everyone raising their head except for me.
And there's your backstory.
That's the backstory. That's Marvel. And then I got injected with gamma rays, but we'll talk about that later on. There's nothing to that.
But
this is the show we can talk about stuff like that. But I'm trying to keep secret identities secret.
So I hope, Craig, that answers your question because it helped me answer mine too. I never bothered to, and all the time, and all the shows we've done at least, I would say at least maybe 50 shows together, at least maybe. And I've never between the wrestling show and the football, I never questioned it. It's like, and so now, thank you, Craig. You saved me from now I know. So I'm like, I know there's a backstory there, but I'm not. Somebody else will do the job for me. And thanks a lot, Craig. Checks in the mail.
Hold on, it's almost like this. So you're waiting for the day that someone goes, "Hey, how did you get the name C-Dub?" And you're waiting for the Marvel movie to come out, and you're waiting for. Well, a long time ago, I was working in the field, and an alien with the letter C came down and said, "You are the new C Double." But gave me no other power. I'm like, "Where's the lantern? Give me something. Give me a cape. Come on, get your ass up!"
Oh my god! Oh. Oh man!
I think we just made it.
How do we go from there? We'll find a way.
But yeah, about the draft, you're right.
Yeah, it's so deep and there's so much value here, and we have and the thing is, this combine, like a guy like James Pierce Jr., a guy like Mikael Williams, and defensive tackles like Walter Nolan, Tyreek Williams, like they could potentially find themselves in the top 10, potentially. Like the combine and even their pro day. I know some opted out. They said, "Well, I'll just do the pro day instead," which is fine. Like Abdul Carr is one of those guys that he said, "Well, I'll just do when Penn State pro day. I'll just do it then," which is fine. It's not going to change how his stock value in my eyes. He's still going to go. To me, with any mock draft, I still have him at the top pick for Tennessee, unless Tennessee decides to move out of that spot.
Yeah.
Because given the news with Harold Landry, I'm like, okay, well, if Harold Landry's out the door, then they got to replace him. And Abdul Carter's the perfect guy to replace.
Yeah. But, by the way, I don't know if you heard, but in LA, Matt Stafford is restructuring his deal so that could keep him in LA. So there's one chip that's not going to fall. So he's staying put in LA.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I was going to bring up quarterbacks.
Uh-huh.
It's on my note card. See, folks, look, it's on the note card. You can't see what's written on there, but just know I wrote things on it.
He does.
And so I was going to talk about the quarterback carousel now because, like I said, while it's a very deep defensive draft, it's not a very deep quarterback draft. Outside of Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, there's not really a franchise that sticks out. Now, there's no disrespect to guys like Jackson Dart, or Jalen Milroe, or Quinn Ewers. There's no disrespect to not them, but it's those two feel like it's there. And listen, that's big news. Listen, the big winner in that situation, hey, is LA, because I think they realize is that trading a guy like Matthew Stafford, and then who do you bring in like Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, no disrespect, stick with Stafford, restructure the deal, because the core issue of why they wanted to move him was because of the money.
Yeah,
it wasn't because of his lack of talent, but given his age and given that him making money that that's like anything above like 50-60 million seems like too much for his age, but So a restructuring makes a lot of sense. So for Ellis, that's one guy, like you mentioned, is off the board.
Yeah.
And look at the rest of the quarterbacks. You got Kirk Cousins is out there. You got Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson still out there. And I'll say this before I spin it to you is my whole concept is I talked a little bit about on the football show is be on the lookout for a guy like Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Because I look at a guy like Justin Fields, and I know some people may not agree with it. I think he's still a viable starter in this league, given the quarterback market. Now, like I say, Sam Darnold and Justin Fields are two guys that are going to benefit greatly. Where like Sam Darnold's going to get probably a 2-year deal somewhere, and based on what he did for the Vikings this season. But Justin Fields is a guy. He's not too old. Like he's at the age where you look at him and go, man, this guy's been through some stuff. And like I said, in Chicago, it just didn't work out. And I'm not going to blame Chicago. Chicago can do that to you historically with quarterbacks.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
And the thing is, he'll be 20. As a matter of fact, he'll be 26 on March the 5th. So, so he's not in a position where age is really an issue. It's like even what we saw with Pittsburgh, he was pretty good until Tomlin switched over to Russ.
Yeah.
So to me, and then obviously we talk about Kirk Cousins a lot on the show, and I made it clear if Atlanta wants to get rid of Kirk, they got to eat some of that money. Because basically Kirk put it out to the world that I was hurt, and then kind of devalued the positioning of Terry Fontenot, whoever's running the front office, and trying to move it, because trying to keep a guy like that. Given these comments, I don't see the benefit of it. When I look at the draft board, I'm like, if there was a team that I could see trading down, and I've said this on the show, and I'll say it here on my show, the Cleveland Browns are a team that could trade down because they have too many needs, and one pick is not going to change the franchise. They're not in that position, and then potentially, getting a guy like Kirk Cousins in the process. Trading down, get more picks, or somehow or another get Kirk Cousins there. I think because I don't see him back with the team, and like Russ is connected to me. To me, the Raiders make sense, but and that was before I read briefly. Stafford to the Raiders. I never bought Stafford to the Raiders in the beginning. I always felt that Russ made a lot more sense. But I'm just curious. I've yapped enough on it. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the quarterback carousel and how Stafford staying in LA impacts both the draft and how free agency approached when the official league season starts March the 12th. So just your thoughts on the quarterback carousel, the draft, and its impact.
Real quick, I want to throw a name at you that should maybe be sought as a backup for the Rams. And this might be crazy. I tried to sign Trey Lance.
Yeah.
To have him under McVay. Yeah. And because look, Stafford, he's getting up there, but yet you know what you get with him. And if he does get hurt, you have somebody. I truly believe before I truly throw someone out of the league, I need to give him one chance with somebody that knows how to call offense.
Right.
And I know but this would be where he wouldn't have all the pressure now. He would have to perform. So there you go there. Now, man, you said a lot. Justin Field, I'm with you there, but my thing with Justin, are teams going to give him a chance, or are they just going to have him as your gadget guy? That's going to be a question that's going to linger.
That's a great question. It's really a great question, and I'll answer it and throw it back to you. My answer is, I think he can be a viable starter. And I don't see him as a gadget guy yet. I don't see him as a gadget guy just yet. I think, like I say, in Chicago, there was spurts where he was pretty good, And
Yeah,
and then you transition, and now even for Pittsburgh, he wasn't terrible. I just think that Tomlin went the way that he did, and he never got the chance to go back out and be a starter again. Like if he's seen as a gadget guy, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I don't like I don't like to pigeonhole quarterbacks, because then you kind of know that, oh man, they don't trust me to throw the ball anymore. They don't trust me to run an offense. And I think Trey Lance is like he's going to be 26 years old, and
yeah,
I think for a team like Pittsburgh, a lot of teams now have to refigure it out because Stafford's staying put. And I think Pittsburgh's one of those teams that's like, listen, because there were reports that Russ and Arthur Smith didn't get along, which I can totally believe. I can totally believe it.
It wouldn't be the person.
Yeah, it's believable in terms of like not calling audibles. And if you go back and watch Russ's, you can see like, man, like there was a lack of audibles there because he wasn't given the autonomy to do so. And so it makes me believe that Justin Fields is a guy that would fit Pittsburgh because of Justin Fields' style of play, where he can kind of be a running guy. And, he could throw the ball down the football field, because it just seems where this offense is going, if it's Arthur Smith, your offensive coordinator, they're going to run the ball over 50% of the time. So get a guy who kind of fits that mold. And I think Russ, if this was Russ like 5 years ago, I'd say, yeah, it would fit. But the Russ now, not as mobile, can't move at the pocket like you do. And it's not age shaming. That's just, hey, the NFL gets to you. But, but back to you and your point.
All right, so and that's why I was asking about Fields. I think there's a place for Fields. I just hope he doesn't get sucked into that hole. That's what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's something for him. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, we can't really say Kurt's available because he's not. And until until the Falcons do something, and my thing is this: a lot of these teams are not doing anything until they have to. And that's what I want to see. I want to see that date. I want to see, when are you cutting people? When are you going to say goodbye to some people? What are you, because that's going to be a show unto itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have to talk about, okay, how are we going to fill these holes? Trust me, I know we mentioned about Grady and Onyemata being cut candidates. Koo's going to be one. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, his mouth is the one that got him in this situation. I truly believe there would have been a point where you could have actually said, yeah, Kirk's going to be a backup. I know we've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
But when he came on that show and did that, it did put the show in shambles with other people. Now, the other thing is this, and I don't want to turn this into the Falcons only, because, we do that enough. But the reason it aggravates a lot of us when you hear Raheem and Terry talk is you were with this guy while he was practicing. You were camping for this guy. You were talking about elite processors. He falls off the face of the earth. And I even did the sunglasses routine. Did y'all just walk around going, don't drive, don't drive? I mean, were you trying to be Stevie Wonder? I mean, because honestly, we all saw it. We were all asking questions. And only the diehards of diehards were like, well, Kurt's not hurt. And I'm going, really? I'm sorry. You can't throw it out. I think something's wrong. I still go back to the freaking Raiders interview where he's looking into the camera going, hey, Dave Orlovsky, Dan Orlovsky, look how great Kirk Cousins is playing. And then from that moment, all of a sudden, Kurt, we need to make a change at quarterback, Kurt. Because he did, if you notice, he wasn't as flattery about the quarterback.
Yeah.
He wasn't as chipper and as happy-go-lucky as he is now. Now, of course, now he knows this is his last, this is his last lifeline, and he's going, yeah, of course I love this thing. It's awesome. Oh, God, it's got a hole. I love this thing. Oh, God, no water. But for teams, there's going to be some teams that are going to scramble. And also, I say watch for the quarterback drills. because LaDarius, you know it like I do. There's going to be some guys that are going to get drafted high if they have a damn good workout and a damn good showing in their pro day. I'm looking at Dart. I'm looking at Milrow. And I'm even looking at any other quarterbacks. Because I truly believe you're going to see some guys get into the first round. It should be 2 quarterbacks only. But it would not surprise me. Because these teams are quarterback thirsty.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Because here we can see a situation that happened in a couple years ago in the Baker Mayfield draft, where he wouldn't have won. And we saw him and Darnold, and then we saw Allen, and then we saw the Ravens trade back into the first round and get Lamar Jackson,
which was a good deal.
Yeah, and I can see a situation where a team could, and that's why this quarterback carousel is important. And to me, I lean toward you. I think, listen, as someone who loves quarterbacks, I tell people this: let's see not only how it plays out next month, let's see how it plays out at the combine, because or at their pro day, I should say, because the fact of the matter is this: the quarterback position is the one position in all of sports. I'll say it like that. That if you get it wrong, it will screw your franchise for at least a decade, maybe 5 to 10 years. It will mess up your, because like I'll give an all-time great example. Like look at the Falcons. Like the whole situation after Michael Vick, it was bad. Like if Joey Harrington, Aaron Leftwich, Chris Redmond, like it was bad. It was bad, and until we landed some guy named Matt Ryan, everything turned out pretty good in the end. But like the Colts franchise, another franchise, that they've been pretty good at quarterbacks. You know, they drafted Peyton Manning, and after Peyton Manning left, then they got some guy named Andrew Luck, and then post Andrew Luck, it's not been great. Like no disrespect to Anthony Richardson, but listen, when you take these dudes, like to your point, he was taking number 4 because he had a great workout. Yeah, and listen, and once again, watching a lot of Gators games, I'm like, yeah, he's great, but his complete percentage. And listen, to me, I'm a 60% or better guy as a quarterback. If you get so basically for every 10th throw, I need you to complete at least 6. I think that's more than fair given the amount of routes and the amount of. So I feel that's more than But like I say, some teams are gonna be like, we're gonna see do how much, because they may not want to pay a guy like Darnold for 2 years, or potentially pay a guy like Justin Fields, or maybe not trade for Kirk Cousins, because like you say, he's available but not available. Is the way I look at it. He's available but he's not available because he holds the cards because of the no trade clause. He's available, so he's there but he's not there, and like Russell Wilson. That's like it's tough. And I think somebody mentioned, I don't know, you or somebody like we didn't even bring up the name Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, because here's the thing, folks. Listen, he's a first ballot Hall of I won't say first ballot. Don't come at me in the chat. Don't come at me in general. But he's a guy that
I think at one point you said with no problem. Yeah, that man's first ballot Hall of Famer. Now I don't know.
He's a Hall of Famer, but things look a little different.
Yeah,
and so I just don't think like team like the way basically the demands he's asking for. It's like you want to be on a team that's winning. And listen, teams that need quarterbacks right now, they're not exactly winning. In terms of like you go on the team, it's like wow, we're one quarterback away. Not with Aaron Rodgers. We saw with the Jets, and listen, it sucked that he got hurt. It sucked that he tore his Achilles. It sucks. But when he got healthy and better, he just became. There's a reason why Green Bay was like, you know what, we moved on. Green Bay said we're good, and I told people when they draft, I said they're going to draft Jordan Love. I said on my podcast that they're going to draft Jordan Love. I think C-Double dropped out. Well, I thank him for coming on. If he wants to come back on, that's cool. But going back to my point about Aaron Rodgers, like, listen, Green Bay, it reached the point where, like, man, we're good. We're going to move on with Jordan Love, and we're going to progress forward as a franchise. But penultimately, the biggest question is, when we look at the quarterback position, is how do you value it? Because every team should put it as a high value. Listen, we saw Pittsburgh say, hey, we want to get Trevor Lawrence, and Jacksonville said, no, thanks, but no thanks. Pittsburgh's one of those teams where they have to get a quarterback and they have to get it right. And shout out to Mike Tomlin for keep making the playoffs with quarterbacks making the playoffs and having non-winning and having, non-losing seasons. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole between him and John Harbaugh. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again because given the things that happened to the Ravens in the news, I'm not gonna push it as far as I need to. And I said, C double is back.
Yep.
And so I was just talking about Aaron Rodgers. And I simply said this. I think there's a reason why Green Bay moved on. Because sometimes your personality can outweigh your talent. That's Aaron Rodgers. And we saw that with Chick-fil-A, who I felt was the first ballot Hall of Fame, but he wasn't. Different conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
His attitude had something to do with that. Like the writers aren't going to tell you that, but I'm telling you that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is when I look at the quarterback situation. How should it be approached from the perspective of like in terms of what are you looking? Do you need a veteran, or do you need? Are you willing to get a guy like a Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, or Jalen Miller? Probably potentially day two.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could one team. All it takes is one team. Trade back in.
And go get him.
We talked about with Baltimore. And be like, okay, we like a guy like Dart, Milrow, or Ewers.
Yeah,
because those are the three quarterbacks that we know that are the next tier outside of Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. So I guess my question is how do you think team should approach it? Would you rather sign a veteran, or would you? I don't want to say risk it. But we'll say risk it.
I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, you got to look at it this way. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick because you were going into it. If you're a team and you need a quarterback, a veteran quarterback, you feel like you're close. I get it. You would look at Aaron Rodgers. You should. But I'm only asking Aaron one question. If he walks into my franchise, in the interview process. Because he's got to go through the interview process now. And I'm going to look at him. And I'm going to ask, are you going to be okay without talking Pat McAfee? If his answer is anything but, yeah, I could do it. If he gives me any answer but that, then I'm going to tell him goodbye, have a nice day. Because I don't see him go. Like someone said, well, what about the Steelers? I don't see that. I don't see Aaron Rodgers going on Pat McAfee when Mike Tomlin is the head coach of the team.
Yeah.
I can see Mike Tomlin doing some stuff for Aaron, but I don't see him all the way going that route. So I look at teams, and I'm going to go here. One team for sure I could see, Oakland. With Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's a player's guy. Would he want to play for that system? Would he want to do, it just depends. But honestly, Aaron Rodgers is getting to the place like he's the picky eater, but finding out no one's making his meals. Everyone's kind of now given where before, yes, Mr. Rodgers, here you go. Now it's, man, bitch, go on, get your ass in the kitchen and fix it yourself. So that's Aaron Rodgers. Now, remember, folks, the way I'm going to tell you is this. When it comes to the draft, like Ron does say, a sucker is born every minute. And how do I know this? Is Cobra Kai got drafted 2nd overall in a draft. Zach Wilson, that's right, Mr. Cobra Kai over a whole lot of talented quarterbacks. So and y'all know the story how he got drafted, right? Because of a workout. He made the Pat Mahomes throw. That's his claim to fame. That's his one-hit wonder. It wasn't even in a game. It was a practice in a workout. So, and the sucker that day was the New York Jets. So, if a team is desperate and they don't think they're going to be able to sign a quarterback, do not be surprised if Jackson Dart or Milroe is Milroe going in as a quarterback, or because I thought I heard something that he was also open to position change. I didn't know if that was legit or not.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay a quarterback. But
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes more sense because we've seen players do what you talked about, like Eric Kraut, like Nebraska back in the day.
Yeah,
he was winning
or Taysom Hill,
and then he changed. Yeah. So we've seen outliers, but I think the best bet for him personally is just to stay as the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, you get paid too. I mean, it's like even a backup quarterback gets paid now. So I mean, look, it's not bad. It's not bad business if you can make it. But yeah, I mean, I can see Jackson Dart being that 3rd quarterback. Who would do it? Like I said, let's see these workouts. Let's see, because I see 3 quarterbacks going in the 1st round. I do. Because there's always a team that does this. And, somebody's going to get pushed. And look, the offense sells. People will have their notebooks. They're going to be like, okay, we got to go for this. We got to look for this. Got to look for this. Oh, man, did you see that kid running? Oh, wow, did you see how fast he was? They all do it.
Yeah.
It's the ooh la la moment. Now, the grounded ones would just do it like this. Yeah, I saw it. It's no big deal. The other one was faster too. But I'm just saying, it's always a team where you just go, guys, let's not fall in love with the toys, the outside guys. Let's look at the trenches. I know it's hard, but so not throwing shade on any team of certain that's in DA or anything, but I will say when it comes to these quarterbacks, man, I think the best quarterback option right now that Stafford's off the table, I gotta say maybe Sam Darnold. I have to say, I think of all the quarterback options that you could go with, Sam Darnold right up to Justin Fields. And the reason I'm not just saying Justin Fields outright is I just wonder if they're going to try to keep Fields in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Like I say, if I was Pittsburgh, their number 21 overall pick. I think could they be a little shy about going quarterback again, given they drafted Kenny Pickett and still in position a couple years ago. So that's why I say I can see them being one of those teams that I'd say stick with Justin Fields.
Yeah,
because I think, like I said, I believe the reports about Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson. I believe those reports.
Oh, I do too.
So Justin
Fields,
like I said, he's going to be 26 next month. Like I say, I don't want it. I don't want him to be labeled as a gadget guy. But I think he's a viable starter. And I think he did pretty well and fit what Arthur Smith wants to do.
If he sticks with Pittsburgh, I think that's going to be a lot of success for him.
Yeah,
as long as they stick with him, because I will honestly say I thought the team played better with Justin Fields than they did with Russ.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. I know there were some games where Russ looked good, but honestly, it wasn't that impressive to me. But that's just what I thought.
Yeah, but I believe they started undefeated under Justin Fields.
Yeah, they did.
So that's why I say, listen. He's not the same dude he was in Chicago. I think you put him in a situation like you do. Like in Pittsburgh, if Fitz, they're going to probably run the ball more. Their running back situation is going to be interesting because of Najee Harris and Jalen Warren moving forward.
If that running back from Boise State falls to them, I could see them drafting him.
Yeah. If Ashton Jeanty is still on the board, because so I'll tell you something that changed the scope of the board.
Yeah.
The retirement of Zach Martin for the Cowboys.
Yep.
That changed because I really believe had Zach Martin retired, they would have went Ashton Jeanty.
Yep.
And now Jerry's looking like listen. I know it's hard to say things about the Cowboys, but one of the things that they draft well out is offensive line.
Oh yeah.
So
they get some things right. They do. When they are pressed, they can find some talent.
If a guy like Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas is there, I think they'd rather go that route than to Ashton Jeanty. Because like I said, this running back draft class get great value on day 2, even day 3.
Yeah. So you're going to see guys available in the second, third round that you thought were going to be first rounders. Yeah. It always happens. There are guys that's going to get taken higher, lower. It never fails. So that's why I got, normally I don't like to watch the combine, but man, I was really impressed just watching because you saw a lot of talent and from the SEC too. And I got to go here. A guy that keeps standing out to me, that Pierce Jr.
Yeah.
Because some people are going, oh, he might go in the second round. Excuse me? You're going to drop him all? Why? Oh, well, we don't know if he played all the way through. Look, if the numbers say what he is, and I can watch those games, I know he played for Tennessee. I know he was a force. And I wouldn't mind having him. I wouldn't mind having Mikael Williams. I don't know if you heard. So he was on, or he did an interview at the Combine basically saying that he was playing about 60% with all the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, why didn't you? He's like, my team needed me. And I'm going, that's the kind of person I want. And of course, someone was like, well, why were you only 60? Why were you 80? Why were you? And I'm like, I don't even care about all that. He had the opportunity to tap out. He didn't. Mm-hmm. So about Carter. So it's like, we can't overly criticize guys saying, oh, they're all about themselves when they're saying, hey, I got hurt, but I was playing through it. And this was kind of some of the reasons. This is, the Texas game is the only game I really got to practice through because I was healthy enough. And I'm going, and you saw what he did. And it's like, I'm not going to criticize a guy. I think a lot, and I'm going to go here, man, Georgia players, after what the Eagles did, and I'm going to tell you, Kirby Smart might be the spokesman or needs to not be the spokesman, but he needs to thank the Eagles, send them gift baskets for the recruiting that they're doing for him. Because they are saying, everyone, if it wasn't for those Georgia players, my taxes were in shambles, but those Georgia players helped me get them back in order. It's like, man, talk about just loving on a team. Yeah, I've never, as a fan, and I'm not just a fan of Georgia, but as a college football fan, I don't know, have you ever remembered a college team or a college get shouted out that much about the success of a team towards their Super Bowl? I know I have, and I've watched a lot of football.
Yeah, that's a great question. There's been a lot of great college teams.
Yeah,
maybe the closest. Maybe USC. Maybe back in the day. And possibly Miami in the early odds. But not to the degree where they're just being called out by NFL team. That's the best self-promotion. Kirby has to recruit. It's like, hey, you want to be a great defensive player?
Come forth. Yeah. Kirby does need to work on the offense, but that's just, and may need to tell Bobo to go away. But, but when it comes to defense, he just opens the door. Come forth. And they all just march into the doors. It's like, God dang, did you have the Monstars? You should have seen them before. They were even crazier. We just give them keys to drive. Anyway. Too soon? But no, I mean, that's something that I've watched, and I'm just, because I don't know about you. A lot of times when I draft or I look at teams, I always look who tries to get teams from, before would be from teams that are really successful in college. Do you try to get guys from Alabama? Do you try to get guys from Georgia? Do you try to get guys from Ohio State? Whoever, championship teams that won, that actually had to go get some medal and win those championships. Does the NFL players do? And not a lot. But man, after that championship, it became the Philadelphia, Georgia Eagles. They were like, yes, Georgia is a part of this championship. We are putting a G on this trophy. And I'm like, whoa, bro. I mean, I appreciate the capping, or the love, but dear Lord. I was expecting Kirby to be on the sidelines with him. Yep. I got to train him on the defense level. My idiot quarterback wanted to cry about going to Miami, and then he got his car stolen like an idiot. How do you steal a Lambo? Because this idiot left the door open.
Jesus Christ.
In Miami. But he wasn't the king of Fireball. God. Kirby, don't ever change. That's all I ask. Told the whole thing. That man ain't no champion. He may be the champion of drinking Fireball. Talking about Johnny Manziel. So that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's like, when I think of this draft, you're looking at talented players so much on defense, so many talented guys on defense, where before I would be like, oh man, you got to get an edge. You got to get an edge. Don't worry about the corners. Dude, if we get Malachi Starks, I'll be happy. If we get, some corners, if we get, just something, because at this point, this draft is deep. Now don't go reaching for some idiots, but there are some guys you can actually look at and go, okay, I'm looking.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, let's see. Craig also chimed in. I said, I need to take a forever joining you guys. Craig, you're welcome on this podcast that we do.
Yeah.
So
I'm still here.
Oh no, you're still. Apologies to the audience. The next time we'll talk about. I'll talk about. I don't know if CW here. But we're talking about men's and women's college basketball.
Oh yeah.
And,
we got to.
On the next show. But
championship games, man.
But before we get out of here. First of all, tell if it makes me where they can find you and your stuff.
Oh, man. Well, as you know, me and LaDarius tag team a lot on wrestling shows and football shows. So this Wednesday, we're going to be doing a wrestling show. We're going to review The Chamber because it's coming up this Saturday. And yeah, man, it's like this. March is going to be busy because we got the conference games for the – I'll tell you what, the conference game for the SEC alone I want to watch, where normally I don't care. But, yeah, I'm actually intrigued by the SEC this year. And, of course, the Pac-10 or the Big Ten. So we're going to get to talk about that. I definitely want to join that one. Let's talk. And then to join on Thursday, me, Ron, and LaDarius, hopefully Carrie will be a part of it. We're going to talk football. We're going to be, basically focusing on the Combine. We're going to look at our, who showed out, who really impressed us, kind of like today. But we're going to go a little deeper in it because there's a lot of talent in there, man. I cannot wait to go over it. To find me, go to C28 on YouTube. And let's see, on X, go to CAAWTN. That's where you can find me also. Just glad I was able to join LaDarius and have some fun with you guys.
Absolutely. And you can find us find me Twitter like at LaDarius_Brown. Instagram _Brown. Writer for Beyond Women's Sport. Check out the pieces to cover AU basketball. Final week underway yesterday. Great action there.
Mm-hmm.
Been covering it last couple games. So once again, folks, the next time you join, we're going to March Madness. Men's and women's college basketball, baseball. But folks, until you see, if I can talk, it'd be great. If you can see and hear me again. I'm LaDarius. Be real. Be blessed. The Sports of the World podcast. Thank you for coming.
No problem.
Goodbye, friends. And future friends.
Peace.